We are here on a Sunday morning to talk about a story that horse racing absolutely does not need, that Bob Baffert does not need. Sprinted out to the track this morning upon the news that Baffert delivered that Medina Spirit, the winner of the Kentucky Derby, tested positive for a banned substance after the race. Just some background on this. That's just the first test. They do a post-race. I guess it's a urine sample. They split that sample in two. Now they'll go and test the second sample. If that comes back positive, Medina Spirit could be disqualified from the Kentucky Derby. Brad Cox could be the winner with Mandaloon. But this is just the kind of uncertainty and the kind of topic that horse racing has been plagued by in recent years, and now it hits its most famous race.
Yeah, Erica, I guess my reaction is I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. You don't expect it for a Kentucky Derby winner. I think I've read if it ends up being a disqualification, it would be the first disqualification for a medication incident since 1968, the famous forward pass dancer's image situation. But I'm not surprised just because we see these stories in all different levels of sports, whether it's been baseball, cycling, swimming, track and field, whatever. And Bob Baffert, unfortunately, has been involved in a number of these in horse racing. I believe I've read this is the fifth situation he's been involved in since May of 2020. He has steadfastly proclaimed his innocence, and I think he announced this before it came out from the Racing Commission. They don't usually make an announcement until the second sample returns, but he wanted to get ahead of the story.
Yeah, he said this morning that he felt like that, word was starting to leak out. He would rather not have addressed it, obviously, but felt like that was the thing to do, to address it. His horses were on the track at Churchill Downs this morning. He is on, getting ready to ship them to Pimlico to run in the Preakness Stakes. You wonder what the timeline is. He wasn't clear on what the testing timeline would be. Churchill Downs really doesn't do the testing. They just react to what they hear from the authorities that do it. So all they can do is what they've done, which is suspend Baffert for now until this is complete. But that move in itself is different maybe from what we've seen. He got in trouble in Arkansas, lost a race, was disqualified with a couple of horses last year, but those were overturned on a court case. And obviously we're looking at legal proceedings in this thing too. If it gets overturned, you can just count on it. Bob Baffert seemed pretty rattled this morning. They didn't have a backstory ready of how this might have happened. He had no explanation for why this might have happened. The drug in question is beta-methasone. Not that that'll mean anything to anybody, but it's an anti-inflammatory that Baffert says his operation does not use. So he does not know how that, I think it was 21 parts that turned up in this sample. He has no explanation for it, but says he will fight it, says he didn't do it. His reputation too is on the line very much here, because he has gotten by. There were allegations about justifying 2018 that nothing ended up coming of after the fact. So this is a problem for him and really for the sport too.
Yeah, and in addition to the allegations against him, the allegations that he seems to be making are pretty serious in that it's a contamination that's happening in the laboratory that somebody's out to make him look bad, is the takeaway I had, or somebody is getting into his barn and doing these administrations to his horses that they don't know of. And at Churchill Downs, as we know, at being around Derby week, there are usually 2 policemen around every barn leading up to Derby, and they have a clipboard with a list of names. And if you cross the line into the shed row, the police come up and ask for your ID, and they write down who you are and why you're at the barn. So what he's alleging is equally as serious as what has come out about his horse.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you stop short of calling it some kind of a setup or conspiracy theory. He said, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but he says he's wondering about that. He does have at Churchill Downs, I don't know if they're in effect now, he has had in the past, webcams in his barns too, because at different points he's been incapacitated, had a heart attack, wanted to keep tabs on what was going on. His assistant Jimmy Barnes the same way has been able to watch the horses in the barns and stuff on webcam. That's been available to him. But again, it's a sad day for the Kentucky Derby no matter what. This is another hit to the horse race, which did well in the ratings, drew national interest. I think got a lot of people with good feelings coming back, saw a crowd at the race, made us feel like we're getting back to normal. Unfortunately, the new normal for the Kentucky Derby may be these kinds of doping allegations that we're seeing, and this is the biggest one we've seen in a generation or more. So we will continue to follow it. I've got a story at WDRB.com. Rick will be writing about this, and we'll keep following it as we enter Preakness week. We'll just stay with us here on YouTube, on the news at WDRB.com. Thanks.